Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's go, George says.
Yeah.
Here we go, the Sports Wrap, George and Ringer. Here we are. It's middle of January. We're past the halfway mark, so the sun's staying out. It's 5 o'clock here at the Rainier Muni on a Wednesday evening. I can still see light outside, so that's a great sign.
Well, in terms of professional football, the next 2 weekends are the epitome. And so, it's that time of year, it's cold, and what else do you have to do? The problem that I have is when it's gone, what am I going to do then? I mean, I'm back reading my history books.
College basketball,
Yeah.
hockey. How about the Olympics starting on the 4th of February? You could watch the Olympics 26 hours a day.
26 hours a day.
26 hours a day. That's what I'm going to try to fit in.
I wonder what.
I'm not going to sleep for 2 weeks. I think I'll just stay up the whole time.
And that's what a lot of those people go over that are reporting that they come back just rag-tired, exhausted.
Yeah, they say it's jet lag, but I think it has everything to do with that.
They don't sleep.
They don't sleep.
Yeah.
There's work to be done. So.
There is indeed.
So there were 6 NFL football games last weekend.
Yes.
Which one did you enjoy the most?
I think the San Francisco game was a really good game.
I think you probably would be in a large majority of the people who enjoyed that, not because San Francisco won, but because Dallas lost. I think.
Well, what you had the Buccaneers and the Eagles. Now, what a bust! And that just kind of went all over the place. There
was a reason why Philadelphia was the 7th seed. They weren't very good.
They weren't very good, and so we knew that going in. But I'll tell you, it was nice to see the Bucs play, and Anton Winfield. He is just an incredible football player, and he gets better all the time. What is he? 24 years old?
You're not biased because he's a former golfer, are you?
I'm just saying, as we've been watching him play football for a long time, and he's able to do things that very few people.
Yeah, he's just not living on his father's name.
Oh no! He's got his own route to cover, and he does that really well. And another thing is that they got their center. This big center goes down, busted up shoulder stuff. This is really gonna screw the butt. He was back out within a quarter. I mean, these guys are just not real human. They go back and they get laid up or whatever they do. But he's coming back out. He's not going to lose this football game.
No, there's too much on the line.
There's way too much on the line.
So that game was the snorer.
That was the snorer. And then San Francisco and Dallas. That was just a good football game. And although Dallas did not play that well, and Prescott,
they had a chance.
And yet they had a chance. And that was, of course, the infamous quarterback keeper from your 40-yard line.
Down to about the 25, 4, 3.
Well, and you see that all the time. You see all that time. All these multi-talented quarterbacks can run and scoot and dust this and dive and this and that. And there's probably quarterbacks in this league that could have done it. Dak Prescott, he's kind of a hybrid. But he's not that fast as those guys. He's not that quick. He is just he's a heck of an athlete. There's no two ways about it. But there was a couple of times it just wasn't there for him.
So, of course, if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan, you probably are arguing, where was the umpire? Where was the guy to set the ball? So they showed the high up angle, and you could see Dak was going into his slide, and the umpire was still standing where he had started the play, 20 yards away from where Dak went down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy screwed up a little bit. Now, I'm not saying even if he'd have been running after the play, and I don't know if he does that every play anyway, but you, as a Dallas Cowboy fan, you almost got to feel maybe they got shafted a little bit there. But did we all learn that the referee has to touch the football before it goes into play, which is a very good rule, by the way.
Yeah, what am I supposed to say? They're the Dallas Cowboys. They got the home field advantage. they're actually the favorite. That was an upset of sorts. And then the other thing you got to say is San Francisco really played well, and Jimmy Garoppolo did just a super job, and and now he's got a busted up thumb.
And our Niners fan walking by, he's got his sweatshirt on, he's got his cap on.
Oh, I'm telling you.
And what's he going to tell me about the game in Lambeau this week?
Nick Bosa is going to be all over and beat him up.
He says if they win in Lambeau, they go all the way. That's not a bad prediction.
No, but I think they can win in Lambeau.
I think they could.
They've got that good a defense.
They got that good a defense, and they can run the ball.
They can run the ball.
I don't think it's going to be very tropical.
No, it's not.
In Green Bay this week, and we'll see what happens. I think it's going to be a good ball game, but we'll get more on this week.
We'll get there.
Let's look at last week. What else? What else did you see last week?
Let me see what my other.
What about his shirt here, folks? He's jumping on the LA.
No,
Rams.
Los Angeles. They dominated Arizona, and that again was people were kind of shocked at that. But they just defensively took control.
Arizona 10-2 had the best record in
the NFL
after week 13.
Yeah,
10-2, best record in the NFL, and they lost 5 of their last 6.
Well,
I asked this question the other day of Dwayne on the radio, and I'm going to ask you: who should be more disappointed at this point? The Vikings, who didn't make the playoffs, who we knew were middle of the road.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals were 7-0. They were talking Miami Dolphins. We're going to come after your perfect record and everything.
Oh, and then we're doing it all fall.
And everything was going on, and then they lose 5 of their last 6. I'm serious about the question, folks. If you're a Vikings fan or a Cardinals fan, who's more disappointed right now? And I'm telling you, it's the Cardinals.
It's the Cardinals.
Because we knew what the Vikings were all year. They're right on the edge, right on. We thought the Cardinals were a team that was going to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they lose 5 of 6.
Well, and then again, and you have to take a look at, the Rams have some exceptional athletes on this football team. They are fun to watch, and like I say, if they can keep Aaron Donald on a semi-leash, but he is just an incredible lineman. He's a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, 280 pounds. He runs like a gazelle. He just goes right down the line. They say, will you double team him? Yeah, sometimes that doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it this way. Sony Michel ran the ball, only 10 times for 58 yards, or 15 times for 58 yards. And Kupp only caught 5 balls for 91 yards. I say only caught 5 balls. If you'd have told me with those 2 stats that LA beat Arizona 34-11, I'd have said you've been doing something all afternoon, and it involves what we do here at the Union. So, I didn't think it was possible that Kyler Murray throw out of the end zone that was picked off and returned for the shortest interception return for a touchdown in NFL playoff history. I don't know what he was doing.
Oh no, I really don't. But when you kind of take a look at, and Cooper Kupp he's one of the most fun athletes to, but he's there. He has great hands. He can run out of the back. He can run it. He can go in motion anywhere you want. He can carry the ball. I mean,
probably runs more in motion than he does running his routes.
Well, they have to follow him. I mean, you're going to let a guy like that on the list? You can't do that. And and I know it's a number of different ways.
Coach Nordquist would take care of that a different way.
He would, yes, yeah. We would quarter, half, and we'd
just bump our linebackers over, Tim. Boom, 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 boom.
There we are.
We don't need to be running across the formation. We don't just bump, boom, 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 boom. We're done. Okay, simple.
No, they get that one cornerback going, and I mean he's going to be exhausted by the end of the day because they have him running every which way, and San Francisco has the same thing in Dabo Samuels. And he's probably, I hate to say this, even more uniquely talented because he's so fast.
And they put him in the backfield.
And
then they toss him the ball like old Adrian Peterson.
Well, they says, how much did he run in the backfield in college? Never.
College coach ain't as smart, apparently, as the pro coach.
No, I guess maybe they're not, yeah.
I do want to go back and make one point on the Cardinals. Kyler Murray was hurt for some of those 5 of those 6 losses. If people
and the other thing, when I saw Kyle Murray play earlier this year, I thought, where did this kid come from? Because he's really an exceptional talent. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
How about the Bills on Saturday night?
You know, the Bills, they really beat up New England in a way that I didn't think would happen.
Now, you tell me that Bill Belichick gives up that kind of a performance in the playoff game?
No, I was absolutely shocked with that, and there was nothing that he could do to slow down that offense. And it's not that the Bills put up, incredible statistics, but they don't make any mistakes either, and they have a nice solid offensive line to run behind.
You would think that there's not much left in the NFL that you can do for the first time ever.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills, no punts.
No punts.
No field goal attempts. And no turnovers in a game. First time ever in the history of the league. Ever.
Isn't that something?
Not just playoff games. Ever in a game in the NFL. I mean, think that's mind-boggling that it's never been done before. I mean, I understand maybe no punts, okay, and you get down but you don't turn it over, you don't kick any field goals, and you don't punt the ball. You start thinking about that. That's hard to do in a football game.
It really is hard to do in a football game, and and it's that's why you have to. When you take a look at each one of those special teams, the punts, the field goals, they really are important. And special teams are, what do they say, a third of the game. And so, that comes down, but I've seen halves where there was no punts, a number of them.
Yeah.
A full game where there was no punts, I've never seen that.
It's tough to do?
Yeah.
So what did you think of the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, I thought, Pittsburgh was gutsy. They came back. They were working in there. Kansas City just has way too many assets for that.
0-0 after the first quarter.
Yeah.
The Bejeebers.
Yeah.
I was just like, maybe they got a chance.
Yeah. No, they didn't. And hey, you feel bad for Big Ben because he's been a rock for all those years, and they're really trying to win this football game for him, and it was, I've always had a kind of I shouldn't say this, but a soft spot in my head for the Steelers, even back in the old days. I mean, I'm a Bradshaw fan and a Franco Harris fan and that whole crew. I mean, there was a time they put together a very fine football team. And for 5, what did they win? 6? 4 and 6.
4 and 6 years there.
That's not bad. And actually, right now, out of that bunch, the quarterback Terry Bradshaw is the funniest sports analyst on TV. The man's amazing, and he's older than me. Look at him, and I don't know if he's making any money, but I just bet. He's got one of the highest contracts in sports, and he never gets, every time he screws up, geez, hold back on that one, and he's, but I enjoy between him and Charles Barkley. You got TB and you got CB, and they're both hysterical, and really don't take their sport all that serious. Although there are times that TB takes it serious, and there's a time that Barkley takes it serious too. But these guys are funny. So I've always had a soft spot, I think, for the Steelers.
How about the Cincinnati Bengals?
The Cincinnati Bengals, they're right now they're a hot team. They looked unbelievable. They look kind of how I would think that they would look.
So now they take on your Tennessee Titans.
They got a problem with that because I'm not sure the defense can handle it. It all depends. And I thought, as soon as they lost Derrick Henry, there goes half their attack. They never stopped their running attack, and this is just part of their offense. And Tannehill seems to run this thing very well. They seem to have a very competent coaching staff. I think that they're going to beat Cincinnati, and I think it's in all likelihood they might be in the Super Bowl, and especially, like you say, I don't know Henry's going to make it back, but they're going to run the ball and they're going to go at him.
I agree. Tennessee wins closer than we all think.
Yes.
Within 10 points.
Well, Burrow is he's smoking.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, the other game is Kansas City and Buffalo in Kansas City. Who are you taking?
Well, it's like anything else. I guess it's supposed to. You gotta go with who has the talent, but in this case, who has the talent? And
Don't forget Buffalo beat them in Kansas City.
Buffalo beat them in Kansas City, and as I always like to go for the underdog, but I think the Buffalo Bills are.
So you're taking the Chiefs because
No, I think they're very capable of beating this team.
I think it's going to be a heck of a ball game.
Oh, I'm going to watch it. That's for sure.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah.
I picked the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. I will stick with that, although it's going to be, like I said, going to be a great game.
Okay.
Over on the NFC side, we got the 49ers going to Lambeau.
You know, boy, I'll tell you, if you're ever going to sit down in a poker game and you think all the cards are against you, you're going to go into Lambeau in winter. Although, first off, Lambeau Field's a heated field. There's heat that comes off of that. And so that field is never going to be rock hard or anything like that. That's very not like the good old days. And they're going to put heaters. They're going to have heaters lined up along those benches like you won't believe. And then you'll watch these linemen come out, and it'll probably be a 0 or something like that. And they're going to be short sleeves. And it's not going to seem to bother them very much at all. So I'm not sure. I'm more concerned about whether or not Nick Bosa's playing, and if he was hurt,
immensely for the Niners.
and Jimmy Garoppolo, they said had limited practice because of his throwing thumb, and if he can't,
he's got a bum shoulder now,
and he's got a bum shoulder, so he's kind of dinged up, but they have a backup.
Your man.
Hey, Trey Lance, come on. This is just like Magic Johnson taking over for Kareem. It's like, well, that might be hyperbole.
You're stretching that analogy just a bit.
Yeah, well, let's stretch that. But yeah, I like Trey Lance, and for him to come on. But Jimmy Garoppolo's playing really good football, especially when he's healthy. Except for that
one interception that he missed by about 8 feet. I don't know.
Well, that's
the ball wasn't from here to the wall away. And
I think that
8 feet. I'm like,
I think that had to do with the grip, because that hand is busted up, and it's been sore all year long.
So who are you taking? Who's going to win the game? There's the big question.
God, it is, and it's just like.
Your hesitation, I think you're saying it's going to be close.
Well,
what about this Niners fan? I'll protect you. If he charges you when you pick the Packers, I'll stop.
Oh no, I left my heart in San Francisco, but I'm, Green Bay and Lambeau in the middle of winter and you're going to love this, the probable most valuable player in the league. That's a tough haul, and and if they don't have all the tools, especially if that defensive line can't function, they're in trouble.
This is maybe a bad whatever. Whoever can go into Lambeau of the 3 teams that are left over in the NFC, who's got the best type of team to go in there and beat Green Bay?
Oh, San Francisco.
I think San Francisco. Because they can run the ball and they play defense
so well.
Now, so I give them a very good chance of taking down the Packers. I'm not going to take them.
So give me a score. We have 37. Yeah, what do you got?
I'm going to go 31-23.
Yeah, I get a feel for that 31 number too, and it's
30-21 somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think the Packers win.
And it's at night too.
Yeah, you're right. It is a 7:15 game. So, but I will say this: I think the Rams, with their defense, that's with Aaron Donald, can go in there and win as well. And of course, Tampa Bay is still Tampa Bay. They still got the aura about them to go in there and beat them. But on a cold night, I give San Francisco a great chance to win that ball game. Maybe the best of the 3 on a cold night. Now, if you get a day like we had here on Monday when it was in the 20s, or Sunday when it was in the 20s, it's a toss-up. But that's where I'm going. I'm saying it's a touchdown. It's a 1-possession ball game, but Green Bay wins it.
Yeah. Well, hey. I guess I have to agree with you.
Okay, so we got one more game to talk about.
We do.
That is Tampa Bay hosting the LA Rams.
Yes.
And he's wearing his Rams shirt, so I think I know his answer.
And I put this on thinking, and I had it on even during the game because I said, number one, they need all the karma they can get. But I tell you, I'm putting notice right now, the LA Rams are a team. They are solid. They can beat you in a lot of different ways. They're a well-rounded football team, and I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl.
I picked Tampa Bay last week. I'm sticking with Tampa Bay. Like I said, I don't think Philadelphia was that good a team, but they looked pretty impressive last week.
They really did, and like you say, they got a couple of really good Gophers on that team, and you always want Tyler Johnson to do well, and I think he caught a pass too, and Antoine Winfield, he is just incredible.
So you're taking Tampa Bay? No, you're taking the Rams.
I'm taking the Rams.
So we disagree. So there.
Cooper Kupp is going to he is the man, and Aaron Donald, he's the man.
So, all right, I think that wraps up the NFL.
Yeah.
College football is done, so we got to move on. What are we moving on to?
Let's see. We can go.
Basketball,
we can go
hockey,
wrestling. Let's talk a little bit about basketball because it's they lost this game to Iowa.
The Gophers,
but here they've got Eric Curry is out and so what do? I mean, they brought some kids in here I'm not sure I've seen before, and they started out slow against Iowa. And then they picked it up.
Well, that's a nice word for what it was. I would use the word ugly, but slow words.
They were just kind of feeling this team out. And also, Willis.
They felt them out for too long, George.
Willis has to get a feel for leading the team. Now, how do you cover the middle? Well, that's tough to do, except that, they've got Jamison Battles. And I'm telling you, he's a chunk. And he has no problem standing in there with those guys that are 3 or 4 inches taller than he is, and in terms of exchanging elbows and battling it up, I think he kind of enjoys it. So they had the two of them coming on, and then the Stevens. I don't know how much. What do you get? 17 points or something? 16, 17, something like that. Now he wasn't scoring that much before, and this kind of just goes to what you and I have always known about coaching. In the right situation, somebody will come and step up. And that's what these guys are doing. I'm watching this team come back and lose by, I don't know, a 7 or 8 or whatever it was. And I thought, this team showed spunk the whole time in the second half.
I'll put it to you this way: if this team is coached by Patino, they lose by 35.
Exactly.
Because the team just absolutely paints it.
No.
Packs it in, says the heck with it. We're not gonna try to come back from a 23-point deficit in the second half. That's ridiculous. We don't have a chance. And when Battle hit that 3-pointer from NBA range to get him to 74-71, I was even getting a little excited that they're gonna pull this thing off.
They're gonna pull this thing off. And you talked about it today, and I just thought by this time I'm channel flipping like a dirty dog between football and
two TVs. That's the cure, George.
I know. So finally I just go over to the Gophers and watch them finish up because you could see they wouldn't go away, and even they were up 20 points, they wouldn't go away. And when you're in there exchanging elbows with Jamison Battles, it's painful, and they won't go away. And I think that Battles and Willis held that team together, and there's several other guys that are perfectly willing. I give Ben Johnson 2 years, and the way the transfer portals are coming up. Here's a coach with charisma. He's got a great coaching staff. He knows what he wants to do. He's got youthful energy.
The portal's going to be coming towards Minnesota and not away? Is that what you're trying to tell us, George?
I think he's going to do just fine recruiting in that portal. Speaking of which, I heard a rumor that the Minnesota Gophers picked up a 5-year, 5-star defensive tackle.
I did not hear that.
From Harvard. He's only got 1 year, but he's going to spend his 5th year at Minnesota. and he was a 4-year starter and
It
an
is the
all-Ivy.
Harvard of the Midwest, isn't it? I think that's what they say about the University of Minnesota.
Is that what?
No, that's Carleton.
Oh, I thought it was St. Cloud, but it's
I do want to go back to the Gopher basketball before
Yes.
we get too far away. They are not playing tonight. They should be
Yes.
starting in about 6 minutes as we record this. But that game at Penn State has been postponed due to COVID concerns within the Gophers program. They were under the limit of 7 scholarship players available for tonight's game, so that game was postponed, and we'll see if they get to play against Rutgers on Saturday.
Well, and just in terms of that, just to let you know, I mean, and I brought this up after the Bruce Lee wrestling tournament, but Bemidji's closed down for the rest of the week.
I saw that.
Yeah, all activities shut down.
Schools closed.
Everything, yeah.
Everything shut down.
Everything shut down at Bemidji.
Yeah, it's. I know that I would say our high school here in town is getting close, because I think I heard the number was like 54 active cases at the high school, and yeah, so or at the high school and elementary combined, and I don't know, like 7 or 8 teachers. So it's prevalent, it's there, and I think they're trying to keep things going. Hopefully they're going to get over the hump here. Hopefully everybody's going to get over the hump. But
Well, just, you know, I guess I can't sub for a while then.
there you go. How about the Timberwolves?
Hey, the Timberwolves are hot, you know, and I watched them play. Golden State the other day, and
The Steph Curry-less.
Steph. But I'm telling you, Golden State's got a pretty fine basketball
Yes, they do.
team without Steph Curry.
they
And
do.
you know, and I'm sitting
They
around.
beat Chicago by 42 points 2 nights earlier
Yeah,
with Steph Curry, and then he's not in the lineup, and we beat him by 20.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 62 points. No, I know.
no, but you know something, the Wolves did not play badly, and you know, and they're able to score, and they're able to shoot from outside, and they had Russell shot real well, and
Went down the stretch last night at New York. They both Kat and Chris Finch, the head coach, talked about finishing games, and Kat basically came out and said a couple of years ago, we lose this game tonight.
Yeah.
We lose this game because that's what we did.
yeah.
We're going to start changing that culture around here, and he thinks that we have, and it's going the other way.
You know, there's certain segments. I mean, they're 22 and 22, so they're playing 500 basketball
They're
right
in the
now.
playoffs right now. They stopped today.
I'm just saying, when was the last time you saw the T-Wolves 22 and 22? And you know, and
Let me get out my calendar.
yeah, it's been an awful long time, and they're capable of winning pretty much every night.
Now they got Atlanta tonight.
That might be different.
Now they
Atlanta's,
got to go from the road from New
Yeah.
York to Atlanta to play against back-to-back nights against Trae Young. This could get ugly, but I'll tell you what: if they win,
yeah.
statement game for the Wolves. If they
Well,
win,
you
if
know,
they win this game tonight.
and every time that they go out of town and win one of these games, well, what team is that? Well, this is the team we've been watching them build for 2 years.
There was a very interesting stat during that Golden State game that I watched in the end of the game. They said that the Timberwolves have only been held under 100 points 8 times this season. In 44 games, they've only been held under 100 points 8 times. All 8 of them games have been at home. At home.
Really, at home.
Aren't you supposed to shoot better in your home gym?
That's the basic thought.
That's kind of how I look at it, but they've been held under 100 points 8 times in their own place and none on the road.
Well, I tell you, it's like one of the things where as soon as we get done with this football season, I'll be able to spend more time with the T-Wolves. But watching them the other day, they were fun to watch. And I have never been that much of an NBA fan. But when you're watching a team like Golden State without Seth Curry and seeing just how good athletes these guys are, they're fun to watch.
They are.
Yeah.
How about the Wild? Let's move on to hockey.
Let's move on to hockey. They playing anywhere?
Well, they play at Chicago on Friday, and then
Yeah.
Chicago comes there. Of course, they had a nice comeback. Maybe got screwed by the referees.
Oh, that was the mystery goal.
The mystery goal.
Oh, I heard about the mystery goal.
I didn't see any more on it today or yesterday about it, but obviously there was is the puck in the net? And of course, you watch the game, you saw it go under his foot ends up in the net. It's got to be in the net, right? Well, where was the puck? Nobody. I haven't seen any conclusive evidence to where it was, but that put the Avalanche ahead. And of course, that just made for more heroics for Kaprizov to tie the game a minute later. Here's the incredible stat. The Wild have pulled their goalie 15 times this season.
And scored 11.
And they've scored 11 times. What kind of percentage is that? That's ridiculous.
No, and sometimes they pull that goalie
with 10 minutes.
Yeah, they do. 6, 7, 8 minutes is not unheard of.
So, I mean, they're doing it and whatever else, but to score at that kind of percentage is absolutely nuts. You would say that it can't keep happening, but Kaprizov had a couple goals. They do lose to the Avalanche, have their 3-game losing streak broke, but this team is just about full strength. But Matt Boldy, I just want to say, you know, and I don't want to name drop, but that's kind of what it feels like. But Matt Boldy was probably ready to start with the team back in October. And then he got the injury in the preseason game, maybe on a little bit of a cheap shot, but we won't go there. He has come up and he has played. And
he is on fire. Oh, he is on fire.
Not trying to do too much, playing within himself, playing his game.
He's picking up points and he's playing with
his first goal, back a couple of weeks ago at Boston, his hometown, in front of his family,
mom and dad,
everything else. So he's fit right in. Somebody's going to lose a spot. Rem Pitlick already got waived.
It's really too bad because I like that other team, but that's kind of the nature of the beast. And they knew Boldy was there, and they knew the kind of talent. What were you going to do? Keep him there?
Yeah.
You know, you couldn't do that.
I think the Wild are getting back because they're getting the injured players back. Eriksson Ek was coming back and then gets COVID. Hopefully he'll be back in the lineup this week against Chicago. Once they get fully loaded here, it could be interesting.
Well, it could because they're certainly going to be heading for playoffs. And you talk about every team; they don't want them to be peaking, And right now they have Talbot's out, but he'll be probably in all likelihood be back by then, and so they'll be full strength. And over the course of the season, you're bound to have some, hiccups.
Yeah, the NHL just rescheduled 98 games today during the Olympics. That, of course, the NHL players were supposed to play at, and of course, many of those Wild games that were postponed will be made up during that time. So I look forward to getting a chance to see when those games are going to be.
Well, how do you think that the college kids are going to do at the Olympics?
That's very interesting because you don't know what the other countries have got. I guess that's the unknown. I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think it's great for these college kids to get a platform, a chance to get out there and show themselves. Now, how much we're going to actually get to watch, maybe if you only have NBC or whatever, how much you're going to get to watch, because of course they're going to put a lot of the... Did you know curling is exclusively on Peacock?
They
got no curling on the regular channel, so obviously they lost the NBC Sports.
They don't, so that won't go on ESPN Plus or nothing like that?
CNBC and USA and NBC, and of course the Olympic Network. Right now the plan is that there's no curling on those channels. None. What they want is they want your money for subscribing to Peacock.
Yes.
Guess what's going to happen? Tim's going to subscribe to Peacock, those dirty pot liquors. And they're probably going to have to sign me up for 6 months, right? Because they ain't going to let me sign up for 3 weeks, right?
No. Maybe you could get the radio station to sponsor that.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. We'll get Peacock that way. I need it. You guys got to pay for this because I need to do my due diligence.
You do.
So.
You're a due diligence.
Olympics right around the corner. You want to talk about not getting any sleep. Of course, the Australian Open is going on right now.
So what do you think of the Australian Open?
Well, that little controversy with that one male tennis player who, thought they should be able to flaunt the rules and, lie and tell them I did this, but he never did that.
Yeah.
I was here, but I was not there, and all these other things. And then I found it very interesting that the Serbian people were protesting in the streets for him, and when he came back, they had a big party and whatever else, and the Prime Minister was all over, and I'm like, oh, this is a lot for a tennis player. I understand he's important, but I thought it was a little over the top.
Oh, no, I don't know. I got a positive story about the Australian Open. Okay, who would imagine that? That's Ash Barty. Okay, she beat Lucio Bronzetti.
Well, you better have one.
6-1, 6-1. Okay, so Ash Barty, she's world champ. She's
number
won
one
the
player
world.
for women.
She is also of this was the Australian Open inaugural First Nation Day. And Ash Bartley is of Indigenous heritage in Australia. And she was not going to be beat. The whole match only lasted about 50 minutes. And she just come out and they asked her about this, and this is very important to her.
Sure.
And it's kind of like, this is kind of cool for them to do this.
She won overnight. She won 6-love, 6-1.
Yeah.
Overnight. So she's played 4 sets and lost 3 games.
She hasn't even warmed up yet.
She's not. And the thing about Ash Barty is this. She basically went on like a 9-month tour last year because she couldn't go home and then leave the country again because of COVID restrictions. They weren't going to let her in because she was traipsing all over the country. So she basically lived on the road for like 9 months. And I mean, yes, she's got a lot of money, and I'm sure she rented nice houses and whatever else along the way. But think about leaving your house for 8-9 months and being told you can't go home to do your job. You've got to stay on the road. She did a
I listened
job.
to a little bit of an interview. This woman has character and lots of it. You know, she reeks of champion. And when you see this and you see the story behind it, you just think there is some good coming out of this Australian Open.
Yeah, I think right now not too many upsets yet. In the play. I'm a little disappointed in ESPN. You know, one of the things that they always did at 2 o'clock in the morning, guess what was on? Tennis. Guess what's not on this year?
Well, there's so many challenges. I can't believe that they can't do that.
You know what they were showing this morning? Because here's the deal. The Queen of Pain had me in pain overnight.
Yeah, she
so I had to get up and do a little stretching during the night, so I had the TV on. So I thought, the tennis will be on. No. They had UFC something like review instead of tennis overnight. So they must have sold the rights to the tennis channel, I'm assuming, for the overnight, in which, fine, I guess, whatever. I don't need to be staying up in the middle of the night. Of course, all the matches are on ESPN Plus, so if you really got an itch to scratch, and sometimes I do for tennis, but this is going to be fun to watch. The men's side is going to be
incredible.
Yeah. The scary part with Djokovic out and Nadal, who hasn't played since the French Open, could he win number 21 first before Djokovic wins number 21? That would be the ultimate for
Joker.
Djokovic. And you know, Djokovic is 34, Nadal's a little bit older, and of course Federer's not there anymore. So some of these young guns, Medvedev, excuse me, and Tsitsipas, and all these other guys, they're the future. They're going to be the new regime.
Well, and it happens in tennis all the time. I mean, Ash Barty, she's very young. I mean, all these kids come up, they're young, and they are hungry, and they're good. And so
Coco Gauff loses in the first round, did not look good for whatever reason, and Sophia Kenin, both Americans, lose on the first day. So obviously, not everybody can win the first day, but a number 11 seed should win in the first round. And Coco Gauff is supposed to be on the rise, but hey, John Lennon said there'd be days like these, right?
There will be days like these, and and that's one of the things I like about this tennis. This is truly worldwide. This is, and you can find a different nationality to be following through and thinking they're great. I mean, we go to the Olympics and you see the worldwide, and all of a sudden, there's some skier from Austria that is falling down the hill. Well, I'm sure she'd be beautiful, and so I said, "Look, isn't she something?" But there's these athletes, these young people. They're terrific, and I'd like to see that international flavor of things. Same way with wrestling. It could be
Would you
international.
like to talk a little wrestling?
Sure. What do you say?
Let's talk a little wrestling.
Let's talk about a little wrestling.
Gophers' big weekend. They honored the 2001 and 2002 national championship teams.
Yeah.
And I thought they started the weekend off pretty well, beating number 10 Nebraska.
That was a tight match, and I'll tell you, Nebraska. I watched them wrestle earlier against Iowa, and they thought, wow, they wrestled Iowa better than we did, and so you took a look at that and you thought, geez, because the Gophers are good, and they are, but when you took a look at Nebraska, you think they've got all the weights covered, but they don't have all of them. And I tell you, it was like, I think it was Braden Lee at 157 won 4-0 against another ranked wrestler, and and they're the ones that watch it. But Stevenson won 18-6, had 11 takedowns, and and then he rode him for 3 minutes. So what would he?
Yeah, he stays incredible. Stevenson does. No shock there. I think what would be a bigger upset than him not winning the national championship?
Oh, I'm not sure what that would be. But anyway, they finished Nebraska 19-13, and then Wisconsin won 6 out of 10 matches. And I have to kind of keep this in mind. You're playing 2 top 10 teams, wrestling 2 top 10 teams in 3 days, and that's tough to do. So Wisconsin comes in, they won 6 out of 10, but they really didn't close the door till 197 pounds. And there we have Michael Foy, and Mike Foy was an All-American a couple, 2-3 years ago at 157. So he was an entirely different kid at the time. And so he's coming down 197. He's a senior. He's tough, absolutely as tough as nails, but he's probably at least one weight division over where he should be wrestling.
Probably.
And so so he had a tough go, and that was good old Braxton Amos beat him, and that was how Wisconsin won. But that was 21-15. These are tight matches, 21-15. Like you keep on saying, these turnarounds, these swings, 3-point swing, it means 6 points. And, so you see this all the time. And, and the other thing of these duels, they're important. One of the reasons they're important is because they set up the seed for the Big Ten championships. And the way the Big Ten wrestling goes these days, that sets up the seed for the Nationals. Because most everybody there that's going to be a Big Ten 4-place winner, they're going to go to the Nationals.
You know what the biggest take out of the weekend of wrestling that I got? On Friday night, they were putting the graphics across the bottom, and Iowa was no longer the #1 dual team in the nation. They had dropped it too.
Penn State.
Penn State's the new #1.
Yeah.
So here's the funky story for the week. You ready? Hang on, come with me for the ride. It was Icebox Days last weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm down covering the smoosh races. First time Tim's been in International Falls for 28 years. First time he goes to the smoosh races. Probably what shouldn't be the way that it is, but it is. So I get down there, and there's a family there. They got their Iowa stocking caps on.
Oh boy.
Yep. So one of the Iowa dad standing right there. So I decided I'm going to jibber jabber. That's what I'm paid to do now these days is the jibber jabber. So I started talking in, and I said, "Geez," I said, "Are you an Iowa wrestler?" He lives in the city now. I said, "Are you an Iowa wrestling fan?" Oh.
Yeah.
Huge wrestling fan. I said, "I got a question for you." I said, "How come Iowa dropped from #1 to #2 this past week?" He says, "You don't know the reason?" I said, "No, I don't know the reason. That's why I want to know." He says, "Spencer Lee." And I said, "What's going on?" He says, "Well, 2 bad knees. He's done." He's done. Now you take the 125-pounder.
Yeah, brand new
Iowa,
kid. Yeah.
And now you drop him out. You take this.
I didn't know where he was. I thought it might have been COVID related, but I noticed in the lineup he was done.
All done for the season.
And and just a little fly in that ointment. He might have been one of the best wrestlers Big Ten has ever produced.
Absolutely.
At any weight.
So you take him out. Now you know why they dropped from #1 to #2.
Yeah.
So there's your little tidbit for the week, and I had to go to a smoosh race to find out.
Well, thanks for bringing that up, because I did not know.
You never know where you're going to find out good information about wrestling.
No. Now they got a week
weekend
off, and then they go to Michigan on the 27th, and there Gable is going to wrestle a Mason Paris, and this is going to be he's number 2 in the nation, so this is as close to a match that you're going to see.
It's going to be as close as a match that he's going to get.
Well, no, but I mean Paris. He's 6'5". He's 275 pounds. He's an extremely well-trained athlete.
And Gable's going to rip him up one side, down the other.
Probably. But
that's the scary part. Tell me all those guys, and he still destroys them.
He does.
He will.
But it's going to be a good match, and I will be hanging on just to watch to see how that goes.
I'm shocked that you'd be hanging on.
Yeah. But that is on the 27th.
I do have to. I want to finish this, and this maybe doesn't matter to a whole lot of our watchers, but who knows? I don't know why you people are watching anyway. Because anyway. Last week they had the Rick Lee in Bemidji. It's a wrestling tournament, ginormous. Team after team after
16, 20 teams,
Everybody's there. They had the first ever bracketed girls wrestling championship. First one ever in the state of Minnesota.
Wow.
They had brought a couple teams in, and they bracketed up, played a little round robin, wrestled against each other, and they crowned Bemidji the champ because they obviously did the best. But first one ever. To me, that's something to hang your hat on.
And I went to quite a few of those Rick Lee tournaments, and there were a lot of teams, especially, and these were a lot of smaller teams and such, but a lot of them had girls on their team, and they knew what they were doing. And what they were giving up in strength and stuff, they were using in their head. And keep in mind, this year, I believe, is the first girls' state tournament. And this is quite historic. It really is. In the state of Minnesota, this is the first year. That surprises me.
The big thing I think about that is that these teams had enough girls to wrestle at basically all 14 of the weight, to go that way. So I think it's very interesting. I think it's outstanding. I know some people, my wife, number one, who thinks that wrestling is gross because of how they hang on to each other and the things they do and whatever else. But these girls are out there laying it on the line because.
Oh no, they're it's amazing.
And the Queen of Pain would have been, as we mentioned.
Oh, she would have been nasty. Yeah. I'd have had to talk to her.
The Queen of Pain is Carrie Ganch, just so you guys aren't wondering. She's my workout lady. She's the one
and Dad and brother were pretty good wrestlers, so
again, last week I told you I couldn't sit still. If you wonder why can't he sit still? I can't get my hips comfortable because every other day I get a whooping. So
what we forget up here is that some of those smaller schools down there, wrestling is the air of life. It's the breath that they have. It's not another sport. This is how they live, and a lot of them are farming communities in which, they spend all summer throwing bales of hay, thinking about their opponents that they're throwing. I mean, I don't know how many people are baling hay like that anymore, but there are some really, really strong kids on a lot of small wrestling teams down there it's amazing. So I'm not surprised, and that's where the preponderance of girls wrestlers are going to come from. So it will be fun to see how they work this out.
Okay, what else we got left to talk about? We didn't talk about any college hockey. We didn't talk about Broncos and Vikings, but I don't know if you want to talk about
I'll tell you what we can talk about is Catherine Raish. She is the first female general manager candidate ever interviewed by an NFL team.
Sticking with the girl-woman topic?
Sticking with the girl. Well, no, but it's still on my notes down here. And she spent the last 3 years as an Eagles VP of football operations, whatever that means. But it sounds like player personnel and such like that to me. And so, but she was the first woman to be interviewed for a general manager job. I think that is kind of cool. And you know what I mean? I know the way. Well, it's like I said about officials. Start bringing some women into it. They understand what's going on. They certainly can keep order. Yeah. And same way with general. Why does a general manager have to be an All-American from a Division I school?
I think there's advantages to being that.
Yes.
I think there's disadvantages to being that.
To being that as well.
You know, you look at, I'm going to use this example, some of the best baseball managers aren't the greatest players.
No.
They're the guys who were cerebral and hurt people. And so,
Billy Bean was the perfect example.
I mean, women don't get a chance to play football very often, right? I mean,
No.
it just is not the way that it is.
Although I was channel flipping the other day, and there was women's football league, and I watched a few plays, but I was on a journey, channel flipping journey. But I just thought they're on TV,
Absolutely. Yeah, to me, like I said, why not? What is it that they don't know or can't figure out or learn to negotiate contracts or evaluate talent or whatever? Why not?
What, a cold-hearted woman negotiating your contract? You don't think they can do that? I watched them work. I kind of live that way.
There you go. There you go.
And I take a look at just a little bit more of my notes here. Just not to go back to football, but Tom Brady, 5,316 yards last year, 43 touchdowns at 43 years old.
Tops in the NFL for both of them.
How is that he is, that is incredible.
We were discussing it somewhere the other day that if he wins the Super Bowl this year, he will retire. And I said just the opposite. If he wins, he's going to come back because he thinks he can win another one. Right?
I don't know. Him and Gronkowski, they seem to think that they can do it all, and thus far, you have to prove them wrong. And Big Gronk, he's having himself the time of his life.
Except for those broken ribs that he had a couple.
Oh, yeah. You have to wonder how tough are you, and that hurt.
Well, I'm sure you've had a couple rib injuries in your life. And
I don't like that.
You've got to breathe.
That's the problem.
Those ribs are pretty vital in the breathing process, or at least involved with the breathing process. Nothing else on that sheet of paper and that tablet that we need to talk about?
No. But as long as we're just reviewing here a little bit, let's go back to that Buffalo Kansas City game.
Yeah.
That might be the most interesting game of the whole weekend.
I believe that to be the case.
Yeah. Buffalo really was impressive last weekend.
They were.
And I know every one of them had a really good time playing in that football game. And I know that every Patriot did not. And so you see this and you think, this might be a team of destiny. And
I will not cheer for the Buffalo Bills because they have one player on the team.
Well, I understand that, but they, what? Which one?
I'm holding a grudge.
Shrugs?
Yeah, I'm not. Stephon Diggs is.
Diggs?
I'm not voting for I'm not cheering for the Bills.
Did you see him play last weekend?
I did not. I did not watch a down of that game.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
I was at the UNB hockey game.
Yeah, in case you don't remember, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he likes to talk too much. Sometimes you gotta let your actions just do what it's supposed to do and keep your lips shut. But that's me. I'm holding a grudge. He's down.
I think without him, we would never have got Jefferson. So
that's a possibility. Yeah. We could. That could be argued.
Yeah. Anyway, that is a game that I'm going to be watching next weekend with interest. 5:30 Sunday. Holy cow! If I could stay awake Saturday and Sunday nights, we'll be all set.
You'll be all right, John.
Yeah.
You got that Blues Hour in the can. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite in the can. It's still got to be edited. Somebody needs to get his job done yet. But it was a heck of a Wednesday.
It was.
Whew.
Yeah, Blues in the morning.
I didn't hardly get out of the studio.
And that's one of the best blues songs that Muddy Waters ever did. And we played it just a week or so ago. Blues in the morning. Well, that's what we started with Blues in the morning, and it picks you right up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gets you energized for the afternoon.
It does.
And the early evening here at the Rainier Muni.
Yeah.
And George, that's going to wrap it up for this week.
Oh, fine.
We'll talk more football next week. I promise.
Yes.
That we'll have 4 games to talk.
Go Rams.
Go Rams. Thanks, everybody.